Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Jerry and I'm hailing you from the Antares shipyard, and today I am bringing you another Captain's Table episode, this time on the Lost in the Delta Quadrant faction pack. If you are brand new to the channel or haven't seen this video series before, basically what happens is I take a deep dive look at the faction packs. We are a couple of months past when they got released. Things have had time to digest, but now it is time to kind of take a deep dive, look at the cards, read the card text, understand the cards, see if there's any good combos and or defenses against said card. I did my previous episode, I did adversaries of the Delta Quadrant. I want to get Lost in the Delta Quadrant out of the way here, just to kind of marry those two episodes up together. So without further ado, I will get you over and we will start talking about Lost in the Delta Quadrant. So first set of cards we're going to be talking about are going to be the ships that come with this pack. So with that, the first ship is going to be one of three U.S.S. Voyagers that we get. So this Voyager is brand new to the game. It is an Intrepid class 4245 tech weapon, triple crew, standard Federation action bar, coming in at a nice 25 points. Action: increase the ship's agility value by 1 this game round and repair 1 hull or shield on this ship. If there are no friendly ships within a range 1 to 2, this is a free action instead. Makes total sense for the U.S.S. Voyager, and it feels very thematic to be the time between episodes where Voyager was really damaged in this episode, but the next week Voyager seems to be repaired. It brings that kind of vibe to it. I have been running this Voyager in the These Are the Voyages Delta Quadrant campaign that Tony and I have been doing, and this Voyager has been a shining star in that campaign, able to heal itself up from practically nothing. So what pairs well with this ship? Well, it is a defensible ship, especially if you are not within range of another ship, of your friendly ships, I should say. So you get to do it as a free action. So it's a highly defensible ship. It already got two agility, 2 defense dice, but we can add on top of that. So you can do Hood Riker, who's going to give you +1 defense dice, +2 if you disable your captain, or the captain is disabled. Or you could run the old Tom Paris. A little expensive for today's game, but still viable. So you get to roll an extra defense die. So Riker and Paris would increase the agility to 4 if you did the action, because they are passive. Respectively, if you pair them together, that's 7 points to spend there. You would get 5 defense dice. You can do add Hikaru Sulu here. In the event that this action on the Voyager becomes a free action, then you get to roll +2 defense dice and convert a battle station to an evade this game round. So Sulu will give you +2. He's pretty much the combination of Riker and Paris all wrapped up into 3 points instead of 7 points. So if you're going to do any combination of this, Sulu and Voyager are the two that I would do, because you have to be very careful with approaching the rule of 3 here. So if you do Voyager's action, you're going to increase your agility value by 1. Sulu's going to do the same thing, +2. So you're already at your third. So there would be there wouldn't be any reason to bring Riker or Paris if you're going to bring Sulu. So how else can you make this a defensible build? Well, you can go with any of the number of shield increaser cards that we have now. The shield boosters. Multi-adaptive shields is really good, especially if you've got a meta where there's a lot of minefields happening now, or scans are running rampant. Multi-adaptive shields allows you to increase your shield value by 1, and then you get to roll +1 defense die, and your full defense dice against minefield obstacles and ships running scan tokens. So you get a bonus on top of that. And then, of course, you got reinforced shielding coming from Alliance Part 1 here. That'll increase your shields by 2. So you can definitely pair multi-adaptive shields, reinforced shielding together. Again, that's 8 points but you'll get a full 3 shield increase to your shield value, which would bring you up to 8 shields. And of course, you could always run reinforced shielding with systems upgrade instead to meet that rule of 3 cap there. And that combo there is going to be 5 points instead of 8 points. So systems upgrade got a little bit of a errata to it. It can no longer fill a crew slot, which is completely fine, completely reasonable. So systems upgrade can fill a weapon or a tech slot. And then on top of it, it adds another tech slot to the ship's bar. So you could fill the tech slot here with systems upgrade and then pull in either multi-adaptive shields or reinforced shielding for an even further boost. Alright, so that's ship number 1 out of this pack. Ship number 2 is going to be an errata ship. So this is a U.S.S. Voyager we already have in the game, but the card text has been cleaned up. As you can notice here on the left, we have the old card and the text with the old costing. And then here on the right, we have the new card out of this pack that has cleaned up wording like declare target step. And it's got the Ox Power token image in there versus saying Ox Power token. It has the range at the bottom and the forward firing. The text just is a lot cleaner, and of course it's been discounted as well. So still running the same slot layout and the same Federation action bar, 4-2-4-5, tech, weapon, triple crew, 26 points, Federation action bar, declare target step. Place an invade token besides this ship. You may attack a target with this ship's primary weapon outside of your forward firing arc at range 1 to 2. Okay, so what pairs well with this card? Well, a lot of people are not super great at Ox power management. I know there's a whole subset of people out there that feel that way. And it's not a knock on anybody by any means. But we've got recently a lot of cards introduced in this game that handle Ox power tokens. We've got 2 versions of Scotty up here. They have the exact same text, different card art, came from different packs. But whenever you place an Ox power token besides the ship, place that token on this card up to a max of 2. And then, of course, the second half of the ability doesn't pertain because there's no Federation prototype or construction card equipped. So, or place 2-time tokens on this card and target a ship with a construction card equipped within range. If that ship or is this ship or a friendly ship, it performs a 2 forward. If it's an opposing ship, place any Nox power tokens on this card besides the target ship. So if you're running a meta and a lot of people are running Federation prototype or any of the other Starship construction cards, like a Ablative Generator here, or any like enhanced hull plating, that's another new one. You could target that enemy ship and give them their Ox, or give them an Ox right back, or give them the Ox that you were supposed to put next to your ship. And then we have the new Pavel Chekhov here. Check for power strain step, which is a step that's been in the game for a long time. That is after you perform the maneuver. If the ship has performed a white maneuver, remove an Ox power token from beside the ship. If it's equipped to a Miranda class, place a scan token beside the ship. So the second half of that ability wouldn't really pertain. But if you did a white maneuver, which the Voyager's movement dial is filled with white maneuvers, Pavel Chekhov treats it like a green maneuver and removes that anyway. And then, of course, you've got a Ablative Hull Generator here that can only be equipped to these kind of ships. So it's a natural fit to make it more defensible. You've got Worf here, who, again, is calling that check for power strain step out if the ship performs just a forward maneuver, which we know Voyager is a fairly fast ship. It doesn't have any 1 forwards, but it's got 2 forwards all the way up to 6 forward, I believe. So you get to remove an Ox power token from beside this ship. When defending or when attacking or defending, place an Ox power token beside the ship to reroll up to 2 blanks. So he could get rid of an Ox power token. No, that wouldn't work that way. Just trying to think of how you could attack with Voyager and then use Worf, but that wouldn't work that way. So Worf, really the first part of Worf's ability would help you get rid of that Ox power that you got at the declared target step the next round. And of course, you could run Coffee Black, which is in this set. We'll definitely get to that a little bit more. But the pertaining text here is place 2 time tokens on this card. Either place a scan token beside the ship or remove an aux power token beside the ship. And that is part of the night shift ability. So we'll definitely get there and talk about that here in the near future. All right, ship number 3 is the third U.S.S. Voyager. This is the Year of Hell U.S.S. Voyager. This is the Voyager that is beaten and battered and damaged and just having a heck of a time getting across Crinum space. So, 4-2, 4-5, same stat line, tech weapon, triple crew, same slot layout as the previous Voyager. This one is 25 points, so 1 point cheaper. Standard fed bar. But now we've got this kind of new area of the game that these cards are calling out, and that is the fleet construction. That is the part of the game where you are building your fleet out. So, you may reduce the cost of any number of upgrades equipped to the ship by minus 2 SP. For each upgrade reduced this way, suffer 1 damage at the start of the game to either shields or hull, player's choice. So why would you want to do that? Why would you want to take this card and build this way and hurt yourself coming back on the board? Well, I will tell you that this game has gotten crazy with the amount of cards that you can have out there that will repair something, either shields or hull. So it's possible for you to build with this Voyager, get all these discounts that you want, which in this case is, really what, 9 discounts? Because, well, you don't want to kill yourself, so you have to leave 1 hull. So 8 different cards that you can get a discount? Crazy. That's craziness. Um, so you can definitely use cards like Exo Comp here. That place 2 time tokens on this card, repair damage to the ship's hull. Reinforced hull is another one where you can add +2 to the ship's hull. That's an interesting one to bring in because then you could do even more discounts. You could even discount that and make it a free card, but it would take up your slot. You got Sonia Gomez, who will repair 1 hull or shield on the ship for 3 time tokens. You got Operations Officer, that'll repair 1 shield. You've got Data, place 2 time tokens and spend a scan token to repair a shield. If it's equipped to a Federation ship, repair 2 shields. Or you got an original version of Montgomery Scott, who really not the first part of his text, but the second part, repair 1 shield and reduce your total attack dice by 2 this round. So if you're going to hang back and kind of repair up, Montgomery Scott's good for you. Now, is this ship going to take over competitive play? What's left of competitive play, I should say? No, not by any means. Is it a fun ship to pull out on the board and kind of play and tinker with? Absolutely. Now, there is a trade-off, though. So for every card that you add to the ship that's going to help you repair, you're going to be taking up slots on that ship that's getting used for discounts. So that's really the only kind of limitation you have here, is you kind of have to balance, okay, how many cards do I want that's going to repair something before I start thinking about, okay, well, I got to make this an actual ship to play with. We got to have the captain, got to have other crew and weapons and all the other good stuff. So there's definitely a trade-off going on. But overall, I think this card is very interesting. I like it. It was a coding nightmare for Utopia. I will tell you that. So thank you, designers. That's my tip of the hat to you. You definitely made me work for this one to make it work. And for those of you who don't know how to use it in Utopia, there is a card that exists in Utopia. It is called the Year of Hell discount, I believe. And I have that discount card for each one of the slots. So you would find the Year of Hell discount tech card and throw that into the tech slot. And what that'll do is it'll create a new tech slot for you to put your tech into that will discount it by 2. So you could do that for every single slot that you have. So that's kind of how you use that in Utopia. And of course, when you bring those cards up in Utopia, I wrote a how to use on it. So you should be able to hopefully use it then If not, let me know and I will do a tutorial on it. Okay, getting into the next ship, we have the U.S.S. Intrepid NCC 74600. So some people might be asking, well, why are we getting a ship with a registry number here? It's to differentiate it, kind of separate itself from the other U.S.S. Intrepid that we just got a couple of faction packs ago in Live Long and Prosper. So it really helps kind of narrow, like, okay, we need this U.S.S. Intrepid that is an Intrepid class. It's got a registry number on it. Note that I did not put it on here in the possible good combos, but this card is eligible for the Federation Prototype Starship Construction card. So, 4245, 2 tech slots, a weapon slot, 2 crew slots, coming in at 25 points. Got your standard Federation action bar. The text reads, the bioneural circuitry and variable geometry pylon tech upgrades equipped to this ship cost -1. Planning phase. Target a cloaked opposing ship within range 1 to 2 that is a Romulan ship. You may choose one additional target. I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Planning phase. Target a cloaked opposing ship within range 1 to 2. If that ship is a Romulan ship, you may choose one additional target. The targets can only use a 1 forward straight template when performing a sensor echo this game round. Okay, so let's break down the first ability, the very top ability first. Bioneural circuitry and variable geometry pylons. We will talk about those cards a little later in this pack because they are from this pack, but they are getting discounted down to 1 point, and it might be worth bringing them. So what other cards pair well with this? Well, the second ability here is definitely a cloaked ship kind of. It wants to target a cloaked ship, especially those ships that have Romulan cloaking devices. Or that's running somebody like Sinon, or Chang, or anybody who's going to do a sensor echo. So, a good card that is also anti-cloaking is Christopher Hobson. So, if the defending ship is cloaked, then the defending ship's going to roll -2 defense dice. So, he's nice to bring. But, again, this card, this ship, is a natural defense against ventral thrusters from Alliance 3, where it gives you the 1 banks to do for a sensor echo. It is a good defense against the Romulan cloaking device, which will give you 1 or 2 banks when you do a sensor echo. Those banks, man, when they sensor echo and use those banks, it changes the whole way you have to think about where a ship goes and where it lands and the facing. It's a game changer. Another ship that this card really affects too is the Takuji, the IKS Takuji from Blood Oath, because that ship is allowed to do a sensor echo action. Even if you can't target if it's not cloaked, but if it is cloaked and it does a sensor echo action, it can use a 3 forward template. Well, now the Intrepid comes in and says, nope, you can only use the 1 instead. So that limits the Takuji on how far left or right it can go. Overall, I think the Intrepid is a fun ship to do, or a fun ship to use. I'm looking forward to building with it and getting it out on the table, especially with some of these Romulan players that we seem to have in the Fremont Reformation group right now. Those Romulan cloaking devices are everywhere, and they do scare me just a little bit. Alright, so that is 4 Intrepid classes that we got in this pack. So, what's the next ship? Well, we've got the U.S.S. Equinox, Nova class, 2233, tech weapon, double crew, coming in at 13 points. Got itself a nice little discount. Standard Federation action bar. Now the ability states, this ship does not skip its perform action step when overlapping an obstacle. Reveal dial step. Target another ship within range 1. You may discard a crew upgrade equipped to the target ship. If you do, increase the speed of this ship's revealed maneuver by 2. This ship suffers 1 damage. So again, very interesting things happening here. This is reveal dial step, and it's a passive ability, so it's not an action. You don't have to take an action. So let's talk about the end of this ability here. The taking a damage. So that could be either to your shields or your hull. So you got Operations Officer who can repair that damage for you. You've got Exo Comp who can do the same thing with time tokens. And you got Dolby, who's an action who can repair up to 2 things for you if you discard him or just disable him to repair 1. So there's multiple avenues to repair that damage that you're causing yourself. So what other upgrades kind of help the first part of that second ability, the discarding? Well, since the reveal dial step is just a discard, and it's not an action, you could do as your action second of 5 and target an upgrade on the ship and discard it. Or you could do J. Hayes, where you increase your captain skill, and then for the action you discard the second crew member on that ship. Of course, if you're within range 1 to 2, but if you're that, then you're going to be within range 1 of the Equinox ability, so maybe you don't move outside of range 1 to 2. And then you got the Vidian Captain, who is planning phase. So that is an interesting one. So Vidian Captain, when the planning phase, you would target the opposing ship at range 1, disable a crew equipped to that target ship, and then when you revealed your dial, you could target that ship again and discard a crew from that ship. So you could kind of do a double whammy with it. Overall, very thematic to the Equinox itself. Very happy with that. Okay, next ship we have in the fleet is the U.S.S. Nova 2233 tech weapon, double crew, 13 points. Again, this ship does not skip its perform action step when overlapping an obstacle. That is going to be a common theme throughout these Nova classes. Free action. Place an aux power token besides this ship and target each friendly ship within range 1. Place a scan token besides this ship and each target ship. So we've got scan shenanigans happening here. Again, very important to note that this is a U.S.S. Nova for a Nova class, meaning Federation Prototype is now able to be equipped to this for a point, giving you a slot, tech, weapon, or crew, and then, of course, giving you some defense. You may re-roll 1 blank or battle station when you defend. So, what pairs well with this ship? Well, you definitely want to give out scan tokens. So scan tokens are going to be important here. Chakotay, who we will talk about later in this pack, really likes having scan tokens next to him. But you also have Theoderic Patterson, who, if you have a scan token, you get to roll +1 defense die, and you may re-roll it to 2 blanks. So he's a very defensible captain for having a scan token. You got Murrock from Live Long and Prosper. During the modified attack die step, if there is a scan token besides the ship, you get to convert a blank into a hit. If the defending ship has an independent captain, convert a blank into a crit instead. So lots of Kelvin Hudson builds running out there. So Murrock could be a nice little counter to that, especially on the Nova if you're running around giving out scans. Another ship that benefits from getting scans is the U.S.S. Da Vinci. If there is a scan token besides this ship, target an opposing ship within range of 1 to 2. Place a time token on the target ship's card. You may spend that scan token beside your ship to disable 1 weapon upgrade equipped to the target ship as well. So you can enable the Da Vinci to do a bunch of things to kind of protect your fleet from other ship abilities, such as like Lurin's Bird of Prey. You can just turn Lurin's Bird of Prey right off with that 1 time token for that round. And then you've got the U.S.S. Enterprise A. Of course, we will get into that when we get into these are the voyages, but this is the same Enterprise A as the Grand Prize Enterprise A, where you want a scan token, and if the ship is cloaked, the target ship is cloaked, and you got the scan token, you can roll +2 defense or +2 attack die. If it's not cloaked, you can roll +1. So, welcome to the fleet, USS Nova. So that is the 2 Nova classes. So now we've got the USS Raven, which is an Aerie class, 1, 2, 2, 3. Combat phase, target an opposing ship within range of 1. The target ship cannot attack this ship this game round. If the target ship is the only opposing ship in play, then it rolls -3 attack dice against this ship this game round instead. Has an evade, scan, action bar. 2 techs, crew slot, coming in at 10 points. So this is a very, very cheap vehicle for cloaked mines. That's what we're seeing it be used for a lot lately. Um, you pair that with Life of Piracy and a Calvin Hudson as the captain. Then all of a sudden you've got a Raven that has a very good ability for it. It's very thematic to what the Raven did with the Borg cubes, but you pair it with a Life of Piracy. You start way ahead of your fleet. You drop a bunch of cloaked minefields right in front of the enemy fleet, and then the Raven can just kind of bugger off and go do whatever it wants to do. Um, so there's not really much I wanted to kind of highlight with this ship. Just kind of that combo going on right there. You could also add a tech slot to it. Calvin Hudson will do that. He'll give you a tech slot. He does not give you an elite talent slot, though, now that I'm thinking about it. So you'll have to use a different independent captain. But there's other ways for you to get a tech slot on here as well. You could run systems upgrade, and now you can't fill the crew slot with it. You can put just a cheap crew like Eric Motz in the crew slot. That'll give you a third tech slot there to run 3 versions of cloaked mines. I don't want to give people any more ideas on how to bring cloaked mines back to the forefront here. So let's just welcome the Raven to the fleet, and let's see what the next ship is. So we have another errata card. This is going to be the Delta Flyer. Now, first thing I'm going to point out is notice the class name. Delta Flyer class shuttlecraft has been changed to just Delta Flyer class. That is because shuttlecrafts are being phased out. The shuttlecraft rules are changing. These packs do come with a rules card for auxiliary ships. So Delta Flyer will be considered an auxiliary ship. So you will have to still have a capital ship for it that has a hull value of 4 or above, I believe. So pretty much the same stat line, same slot layout here, same action bar, but you can see it's got an 8-point discount, and the ability text is very much cleaned up. So when attacking with your primary weapon, you may fire out of your rear at -1 attack dice. So that has been cleaned up from what the Delta class shuttlecraft had as text. So here's the new rules card. So similar to capital ships, all non-Tholian ships that have a hull value of 2 or less are auxiliary ships. Keep in mind that means your scout cubes are now considered auxiliary ships and must have a capital ship to run. So you cannot have a scout cube. You cannot have a scout cube swarm. For example, the Delta Flyer class was classified as a shuttlecraft when it was first released, but going forward it will be treated as an auxiliary ship. A player must have a capital ship with a hull value of 4 or greater for each auxiliary ship in their fleet. So what does the Delta Flyer kind of pair well with? There's really not a lot that it's going to pair well with the Delta Flyer, especially with these new rules. I'm sure there's other ways to use the Delta Flyer now, but you could put car on here to increase the amount of firepower that you got, so you can fire out your rear +1 attack dice if you have a higher captain skill. You can also put on Type 8 phaser array or upgraded phasers, again to give you a little bit more higher firepower. So that is the Delta Flyer. So the next ship in the pack is the Delta Flyer 2, 3223, Tech Weapon Crew, 14 points. It has got an evade, target lock, scan action bar. When the ship performs a target lock or a evade action, you may perform a sensor echo action as a free action, even if the ship is not cloaked. Then place a battle stations token besides this ship. So Sinon kind of pair well with this because notice that it just says do the sensor echo action. It does not say a template. So Sinon would allow you to do the 1, 2, or 3 sensor echo action here. And of course, you could put ventral thrusters on, which states when you perform a sensor echo action, you may move using the do the sensor echo with the one bank left or right. And you could put the Romulan cloaking device here with Tyrrell. That's another option, but that's a little bit more of an expensive uh, combo versus ventral thrusters. So that is all the ships that come in the pack, rounding out that portion of this video. So next we're going to talk about the generic ships. So the generic ships are all going to be recosting of older ships. So we've got the old Intrepid class here coming in at 28 points. And then you've got the new Intrepid class that's going to be coming in at 23 points. And I much prefer the artwork on these newer cards as well. So next we're going to be looking at the Nova class. Originally coming in at 18 points, it's now coming in at 11 points, and it gains an ability. So this ship does not skip its perform action step when overlapping an obstacle. So it's definitely new player friendly, especially if they're trying to get used to the flight path system, and maybe they don't have what some players develop, kind of a sixth sense when looking at the board, being able to kind of tell how far a template can go. Then we get the recost of the Airy class, which is like a 50% reduction, going from 14 points down to 7 points. It'd be interesting to see if there's going to be any Airy swarms. Do note that the Airy class would technically be constituted as an auxiliary ship because of its hull value. So we've got the Delta class, the Delta Flyer class, which again has been errated from the shuttlecraft, coming down from 18 points to 11 points. It's a 7-point discount saving there. Again, going to be considered an auxiliary ship, so you got to have a capital ship to play it. Alright, that concludes the ships. Now we're going to be looking at the captains that come in this pack. And we've got some very, very interesting options here with the captains. So, we're going to start off with the captain herself, Catherine Janeway. Each time an opposing effect would discard, steal, or place any time tokens or disable tokens on a crew upgrade equipped to the ship, target that ship. You may perform a free attack with the ship's primary weapon against the target ship if able. If this card is equipped to the U.S.S. of Voyager, it may attack in any direction. So there's a lot of symmetry and thematicism happening between Janeway and Voyager, and her not leaving crew behind as one of her 3 tenets of command. Very, very... Well, I like this card. It's another card that I've been using a lot in my Delta Quadrant campaign, and I just haven't been able to get away from her. Not only because of this ability, but because she's a skill 9. She's a high captain skill, coming with an elite talent slot at 5 points. She's a pretty good captain that's coming in this pack here. So, what does she pair well with? Well, she's going to pair well with Type 10 phasers to give you roll +1 attack dice and then rerolls for that primary weapon attack you're going to do. Tactical Superiority Commander, which is an elite talent that comes in this pack. We'll talk about a little bit later. But she gives you +1 attack die. You've got the Doctor, the crew out of this pack. Again, we'll talk about him in a second. But he's able to save crew that are being discarded. And then these are the cards at the bottom here, the 3, that she kind of defends well against. So really anything that's going to affect your crew. These are all going to be in the activation phase, but she could do planning phase. Vidian Commander, Vidian Captain that we just reviewed, who's going to discard or disable a crew. She's gonna hit you pretty hard. The U.S.S. Equinox, if she's going up against it, at the reveal dial step, she can get an attack in. But she's going to defend well against second of 5, Deanna Troi, and then the new Kira Nerys from To Boldly Go, which was an interesting one that I didn't think of until I saw it. Because Kira Nerys has got to be at range 1. So that means that the primary weapon attack is going to be a range 1 attack. Whereas Deanna Troi and second of 5 are going to be at range 2, which means that the free attack from Janeway is going to be at range 2 maximum. So Kira Nerys will have to endure and think about whether she wants to attack Janeway that way, um, by discarding a card by rolling and getting a hit or a crit. So really like Janeway. She's got a place in my builds right now, working really well. So another captain that comes in this pack is Rudolph Ransom. Good old Rudy. Skill 5, elite talent slot, cost of 3. Add 1 crew slot to the ship's upgrade bar. When defending, if there's an obstacle token within range 1, place an Aux power token besides the attacking ship. If this card is equipped to an Equinox class, a Nova class, the attacking ship also rolls -1 attack dice. So kind of playing off the thematicism of Rudy Ransom, where they were talking about in the Equinox episodes, where he successfully evaded an enemy ship by hanging out in kind of the top layers of a gas giant. Kind of putting that into attack wing form here with his ability. So he's definitely going to pair well with the Equinox, the Nova, because you need him on the Nova class to do that. Ferengi Photon Torpedoes will be another interesting one. If you pair that with Rudolph Ransom in any of the Nova classes, then you can be handing out 2 Auxes. Brunt is another one. You give out another Aux. Positron Beam, that's another Aux. Or you can use Tau. Tau, you can steal an Aux from the attacking ship or from another ship, and then in the planning phase, hand that Aux power token out to an enemy ship within range. So lots of combinations here with Rudolph Ransom. I think this is probably not better than the old version of Rudolph Ransom, because that one was very defensible and that one's still legal to play. But I think this Rudolph Ransom deserves a look if you're a fan of Rudolph Ransom. I don't think one's better than the other. They're probably on the same tier if I'm going to rank them that way. So the third captain in this pack we're going to be looking at is Magnus Hansen. So this is the second time Magnus Hansen gets a card in the game. This time it is the first time he's going to be considered a Federation captain. He was an independent captain when the U.S.S. Raven originally released. So he's got a restriction here that is hull value of 3 or less. So he cannot be equipped to any of the higher hull valued ships. Captain skill of 2, cost of 1 point. Planning phase, target an opposing ship within range 1. This ship activates as though it has a captain skill number equal to the target ship's captain skill +1 until the end of activation phase. If the target ship is a Borg or has a Borg captain equipped to it, place 1 time token on an upgrade equipped to that ship. So there's a lot of text here to break down, but I think the important part is that Magnus Hansen is going to emulate a captain's captain skill during the activation phase. Now, he doesn't change his captain skill. It's not like a Khan Noonien Singh, this Gen Con promo card here that I have up on the screen, because Captain Magnus Hansen isn't changing his captain skill. He's just activating as though he does have that. So, what does that mean? Well, he can target cards like Picard 9 and say, all right, I'm going to activate after you. So my captain skill for activation is going to be considered a 10 because you have a 9. I'm going to add +1. Core is in that same realm, but remember, Core can be boosted by Dahar Master times 3. So Core could be up to an 11 captain skill. Magnus Hansen would look at that and go, okay, you are an 11 captain skill. I now have an 11 +1. I'm a 12 captain skill. Because rule of 3 doesn't transfer that way. Like Core's captain skill can't go above 11 because of rule of 3. Magnus Hansen doesn't care that Core is being boosted by 3. Core's captain skill is 11, so Magnus Hansen will be 11, and that allows him to increase his own captain skill +3. But keep in mind that he's already boosting his captain skill by +1, so technically +2. So he could eventually end with a captain skill of 11, 12, 14 if he's going to emulate something from Core that's got 3 Dahar Masters. But same thing with Khan Singh from the Gen Con promo. Now, we already hinted at the text is different here because Khan Singh's captain skill ability is a replacement. So he's a skilled 6, but he finds the captain that has the highest skill on the board, not printed skill, but the highest skill on the board, and emulates that. So you could do some crazy shenanigans here where you have three Klingons into Har Masters, so Kor, Kang, Koloth, and then your fourth ship has got Kang Sing or Khan Sing. So your highest captain skill is going to be 11 with Kor. Let's just say this Kor right here. And then Khan takes that and says, okay, I'm now a skill 11, but I can increase my own captain skill because, again, rule of 3 doesn't transfer that way. So I'm a skill 11. Now I can increase my skill to 14. And now Magnus Hansen targets Khan Singh and goes, okay, you think you're a skill 14? Well, I'm a skill 14 plus 1, so now I'm 15. And I could increase that up to 17. So it is possible to get Magnus Hansen up to a skill 17 in this game, which is crazy. That's crazy high, but there's a lot of conditions that kind of have to go right to get that high. And again, this would only be for the activation phase. So it would be not in your best interest to really try and ramp that up if you're planning on doing things in the combat phase. So what ships does Magnus Hansen really pair well with? Well, we already know that he goes well with the Raven. He goes well on an Aerie class. But again, those are going to be capital ships. Those are auxiliary ships. So you could run a Defiant class with him. You could run a Burrell class with Magnus Hansen. You could run a Romulan scout vessel, which again is going to be considered an auxiliary power ship or an auxiliary ship because of its hull value of 2. So Magnus Hansen, very interesting concepts running around with him. The captain skill kind of power up is very interesting to kind of sit down and have a very good thought experiment about. So let's move on to the next captain in this pack, which is going to be Chakotay. So we already kind of got a nice little preview of him, but he's going to be a skill 7. He's got an elite talent slot. He is Federation and Independence dual faction there, which I really like. That's very thematic, very fitting. He is a cost of 3, so this is definitely already better than the original Chakotay that we got that came in at a skill 6. So he's going to be adding a crew slot to the ship's upgrade bar. Again, very thematic because he brought his Maquis crew over. When attacking, if there's a scan token besides the ship, 1 hit or 1 crit cannot be cancelled. So he's kind of a way to guarantee that you're going to do something. You're going to do a hit, you're going to do a crit, and that other ship is going to have to defend against that one that can't be cancelled. So we got the Science Officer who's going to place 2 scan tokens beside the ship. That's a very good pairing. Beta Hirogen is another one who places a scan token if you do the scan action. The Tacumbra is another good place for Chakotay. Again, when the ship performs a scan action, place an additional scan next to the ship. So those 3 cards right there are giving you double scans. So that would ensure that Chakotay is going to work because you have to remember that 1 token equals 1 effect. So if you're running Chakotay with, say, Mr. Spock, Mr. Spock wants to target that, he wants that scan token to activate his ability so you can convert battle stations to hits. Chakotay wants that scan ability to make sure that that scan token to activate his effect to make sure that 1 hit or crit cannot be canceled. So in order to run both of those abilities at the same time, you would require 2 scan tokens. Chulak is another interesting option here. You get to place 3 time tokens next to your ship as a free action. Of course, pair it with Graviton Telescope during the deal damage step. If there's a scan token beside your ship, disable this card and add a hit to your roll. Brain Aid is another kind of smaller upgrade cost, that is. If your ship has a scan token beside it when you attack, you may convert 1 blink result into a hit result. So lots of conversions, adding a hit. And of course, scan tokens are still going to prevent the enemy from rolling defense dice to at least the maximum of 3 scan tokens. So Chakotay, while I like Janeway much better, I believe Chakotay has a place in this game, especially with all the scan shenanigans going on. I think the Tacumber is probably one of the better fits for him, even though he's not a Vulcan captain or admiral. But it's still, if we're talking scan shenanigans, I think that's probably one of the best places for him. Enterprise A is another good option, but we'll get there. So, next captain in the pack here is Tom Paris. He can only be equipped to a ship with a hull value of 3 or less, skill 4, cost of 3. Reveal dial step. You may discard your revealed maneuver and either perform a 1 impulse roll maneuver or a 5 red forward maneuver. In addition, if equipped to a Delta Flyer class, place an evade token besides this ship. So I put him, he's obviously going to pair well with the Delta Flyer class ships. Carr is another captain he's going to be paired well with. You got the new maneuvers here, so you got the impulse roll. So the maneuver can be selected for a ship to either go to the left or right, and the player must decide which direction to go before placing the template. So the template comes with Lost in the Delta Quadrant, so it is I think it's a reskin of a old template that came in one of the OP resources, but everybody's going to get access to it now. You could put Tom Paris on a Defiant class to do this maneuver. Really, any ship with a hull value of 3 or less. Then we got Harry Kim, who is a fun choice for a captain. It is, again, thematic because he did do night shift captaincy every once in a while. So he's a skill 3, cost of 2, and then he's got this brand new night shift ability. So while you're on night shift, treat your captain skill as a 5. After you remove an Aux power token from besides this ship, place an invade token besides this ship. If you're on night shift, in addition, place a battle station token besides this ship. So, what is night shift exactly? Well, you can see we got a new rules card over here on the right hand side of your screen. Night shift, these cards will gain the ability and or text listed after night shift keyword while your opponent has the initiative token. This card gains the abilities and or text granted by night shift in addition to any other abilities or text it has. So, night shift is when you do not have the initiative token, which Lost in the Delta Quadrant does come with a brand new initiative token that has a night shift side on the back of it. So each player can bring their own initiative token and flip it, so they either have initiative or they have night shift. So, breaking down his ability, if you guys do not have initiative and you are on night shift, Harry Kim becomes a skill 5 instead of a skill 3. After you remove an Aux power token from inside the ship, you have to place an evade token, no matter whether you're on night shift or not. And then if you are on night shift, you get to put an a battle station token besides the ship. So what does he pair well with? Well, he pairs well with the cards that want to remove Aux power tokens. So Pavel Chekhov, Worf, Reactor Pit, Montgomery Scott, Coffee Black. He pairs well with all of that, so you can get an evade and a battle station on night shift if you use any of those cards. Alright, so the next captain in the fleet is Tuvok. Wind defending, skill 6, elite talent slot, dual faction. So he is Vulcan Federation, cost of 3. When defending, compare results step. Spend either a scan and or one of the ship's shield tokens, or disable 2 of the ship's active shields to cancel a hit and or a crit. So Tuvok is fun, and I forgot about one ship that I want to highlight right now. He would be a fun captain on the U.S.S. Sutherland. He would be a very, very big menace if you had a Southernaut, if you will, That's the Sutherland with boost shields and shield adaptation on it. Tuvok would wreak havoc. Good luck getting through. But Tuvok, being the natural Vulcan captain he is, pairs well with the Tacumber as well. So that he'll give you the scan token that you can spend. Beta Hirogen the same thing, Science Officer the same thing, and of course, whatever ship you want him on, you can boost those shields up. So reinforced shielding, multi-adaptive shields, and then you can come back later in the combat phase. Well, you can't use in the same phase, but you could repair those in a different combat phase with data. So the last and final captain in this faction pack is a bit of a spicy one, as the designer will put, but it's a very fun one. It is the Doctor. So fleet construction plays skill 8. We got an elite talent slot, cost of 6. So he's a very expensive captain, but he's calling out that fleet construction part again. So remember, fleet construction is the part of the game where you are building your fleet. So it is not when you're getting to the table to play. So fleet construction plays 2 Federation captains with a total cost of 6 SP that are not already in your fleet face up under this card. This captain has all text and restrictions from each of the captains placed under it. So, in order for the Doctor to work, you must have 2 Federation captains. Now, keep in mind that does mean Vulcan, and that does mean Bajoran, because those cards are considered Federation. So, what combinations can you put under him? Well, it has to be a total cost of 6. It cannot be under, so you cannot do 2 cards that equal 5, or 2 cards that equal 4. You have to have a total cost of 6 under the Doctor. So that means you could do a captain like Rudolph Ransom, who costs 2, and pair it with the card underneath him, William T. Riker, to boost that to, well, that has a cost of 4, so that's your 6. You could do Clark Terrell, who has a cost of 1, and pair it with the bottom James T. Kirk, who has a cost of 5, to get your 6. Again, you can pair Chakotay, cost of 3, with Theo Derek Patterson, who again has a cost of 3 to equal 6. And you get the abilities of both of the captains that you put under him. So if you do Rudolph Ransom and William Riker, you get Rudolph Ransom's text. So when defending, if you have an evade token, you get to roll +2 defense dice. And in addition, so picture there's a space bar between the 2 abilities like Chakotay. William T. Riker's, you get William T. Riker's ability. So when attacking a ship with a larger hull value, your ship will gain +1 attack dice, and when you defend, you gain +1 defense dice. So it's possible that you could pair those 2 cards well together and get a very defensible build, and you're rolling 3 extra defense dice thanks to the Doctor. The way I like to picture it is if the Doctor is taking a look at the Federation library and downloading the captain's abilities into his head. So that's kind of how I look at it. So we definitely need to talk more about the Doctor. One thing you need to note right now is that the skill 1 captains, the generic Federation captain, and a cost 6 captain will not work. While that does satisfy the card text in that way, the designer has already come out and answered this in the Facebook community group that the generic cards are no longer supposed to be legal for play. They're no longer getting included in the faction packs because he thought that the word had gotten out that those cards were kind of rolled back and they're no longer going to be legal for play. So while there's nothing that officially says they're not legal for play and you can use them, they will not work for the Doctor because of that reason. So another thing I wanted to highlight here is not only does it bring all the text from the cards that he places underneath it, it also brings the restrictions. So things like Magnus Hansen, where you have the hull, you can only equip him to a hull 3 or less. That would be implemented on the Doctor. So if you got the Doctor on Voyager and you try to put Magnus Hansen underneath it, it's not going to work. Voyager's now the Doctor cannot be equipped to Voyager because of that restriction. Same thing with the Tom Paris card down there. Jaro Essa is another example I wanted to bring out because his card says he may only be purchased for a Bajoran ship, which would make the Doctor only eligible for a Bajoran ship. Same thing with Erica Hernandez, where her says has an NX ship limit on it, so you can only equip her to NX classes. That restriction would carry over to the Doctor, where he can only be equipped to NX classes. So I went ahead and I kind of counted up the captains and their costs, just kind of see what was out there for Federation. So this is a mixture of Federation, Bajoran, and Vulcan. And I took out the ones that were already the Doctor, because you cannot have two the Doctor Captain cards out there. And I took out the cards that are considered erratas. So that leaves us with this chart here, which means in the game we have 7 Federation captains that cost 1 or less. We have 19 that cost 2 or less, 29 that cost 3 or less, 33 that cost 4 or less, and 14 that cost 5 or less. So very interesting. Again, thought experiment to think about. There's a lot of potential for the Doctor and a lot of combos that could be done out there. I was going to do a combo analysis or a combination formula, but I'm not very good at it. I'll admit it right now. Not very good at that side of it, and I was getting some kind of crazy numbers out of it. So you could run those numbers yourself if you like. You can put them in the comment section below. I would love to see what someone comes up with as how many combos you can run with a cost 1 captain and a cost 5 captain. So just a couple of reminders with the Doctor. Unique cards cannot be equipped anywhere else in the fleet. So you can't have the Doctor and the Doctor in the same fleet. You can't place the Doctor, the skill 2 Doctor, underneath the skill 8 Doctor. The restrictions carry over, as we discussed in the last slide. The discounts also carry over, though. So if you have a Federation captain like the original Tuvok, who would discount tech, or it was either weapon or tech, but he would discount one or the other, that discount would carry over. And of course, the Doctor's ability happens during the fleet construction part of the game. So that is all of the captains in the faction pack. So now we're going to start looking at the upgrades that come in the faction pack here. So the first one we're going to talk about is the crew version of Chakotay. So his captain card is double-sided. He has obviously Captain Chakotay on one side, and then the crew version of Chakotay on the other. So add 1 crew upgrade to the ship's upgrade bar. Place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship within range. Place 2 time tokens on the captain equipped to the target ship, range 1 to 2. And then, of course, he's got the first officer. If the captain equipped to the ship is discarded, flip him over, and his captain card becomes the new captain. So, place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship within range 1 to 2. Place 2 time tokens on the captain equipped to the target ship. So, Chakotay is going to be a good defense against other captain cards that are in the game, and like the 3 bottom cards here. So, a Gul Madred card where Gul Madred wants to eliminate captains, he's going to be a good defense against that, because he'll blank Gul Madred's text out with those 2 time tokens. Carr is another one where you can blank his text out, and then of course Jin Khan, if you are experiencing a player in your meta that loves to bring high captain skill captains and even higher with Jin Khan, then you can say nope, Jin Khan can't use his text ability for the next 2 rounds. He's going to have to play this game as a skill 6. I like it. It's a very cool ability. Of course, he's going to pair well with captains like Kaval, where you place 2 time tokens on a crew equipped to the defending ship if your ship's cloaked. The Viceroy, Place 2 time tokens on a crew upgrade equipped to the target ship. You got Ezri Dax, who will place 1 fewer time token on Chakotay. So Chakotay's got a lot of versatility in his ability to do things. Alright. So that's the first card. Now we've got Tom Paris. New crew Tom Paris here, cost 3. Combat phase, spin an evade token from beside the ship. You may either perform a sensor echo action using the 1 template, even if this ship is not cloaked, or a 1 bank left or 1 bank right maneuver. So I have used this Tom Paris in the Delta Quadrant campaign quite effectively. It is very nice to be able to kind of dip and dodge out of arcs or get somebody into an arc. At the start of the combat phase is when you have to spin that and use it, but it makes a huge difference. So pairs well with the commander, who for the action you're going to get the battle station and the evade token, and then you can spend the evade token at the start of the combat phase. Same thing with Harry Kim, pairs well there. Savik is another one that's going to be paired well with, because you may at any time replace a scanner or battle station and disable her card with an evade token. So at the start of the combat phase, you could disable Savik, replace the scan token that you've already used the effect for with an evade token, and then activate Tom Paris and spend that evade token to get out of dodge. And that would be all for 5 points. Would pair well also with Hikaru Sulu. So if you, with the action, perform a 1 left or 1 right bank, and then place an evade token besides the ship, and then again you get to spend that evade token to do another bank if you wanted to. Valeris is another one. If you did a green maneuver, you get to place an evade token besides your ship. In the U.S.S. Intrepid, not for Tom Paris to be on the Intrepid, but whatever ship the U.S.S. Intrepid is reaching out in, giving a scan or an evade to. That would allow Tom Paris to utilize that evade at the start of the combat phase. Okay, and then we've got Harry Kim. So each of the captains, Chakotay, Tom Paris, Harry Kim, all have captain versions. Chakotay is the only one that has the first officer keyword to allow him to be flipped and used as a captain if your captain is disabled. Or, discarded. So, Harry Kim, cost of 3. Each time a scan token is placed beside the ship, remove a disabled token from either a Federation crew or Federation tech upgrade equipped to this ship. Cool. It's like an MRES for scans, which is awesome because there's a lot of scan shenanigans happening right now. So he would definitely work with helping save Miles O'Brien, Lozier, Valtane. He's going to pair well with because he wants to scan as well. And note that Harry Kim's effect doesn't need the scan token to fire off. So there's a difference between the way Valtane's text is worded and the way Harry Kim's text is worded. Valtane says if there is a scan token. So Valtane is looking for a scan token. Whereas Harry Kim says each time a scan token is placed. So Harry Kim only cares about the token being placed, not that it is a scan token. Well, he cares that it's a scan token. He doesn't care. He's not looking for it to activate something. So Chulak, place 3 scan tokens besides the ship. So obviously going to pair well with Harry Kim. He places 3 scan tokens, and it says each time a scan token is placed. So that means Harry Kim would get to remove 3 disabled tokens. Beta Hirogen, again, where you get to perform an additional, or place an additional scan token besides the ship. That's exactly what Harry Kim's looking for. So with Beta Hirogen, now you can remove 2 disabled tokens. Same thing with the Tacumbra. You put that on there. You put the Tacumbra, the Beta Hirogen together. You do a scan as your action. You're going to place 1 because of the Tacumbra, 1 because of the Beta Hirogen, and 1 because of your action. So you're going to get to remove, again, 3 disabled tokens. So there's a way to completely stack Harry Kim and kind of save some of your tech and crew each round, really. Alright, and then Tuvok. So he is the last, I believe the Doctor's the last one. So Tuvok and the Doctor are also kind of in that grouping with Chakotay, Paris, and Harry Kim, where they have captain versions on their backside. Again, Chakotay is the only one that has that first officer ability. So, Tuvok. Action. Disable this card. Perform either a target lock or a battle station action as a free action, and then perform the action listed on a Federation crew upgrade equipped to the ship as a free action. So, very nice there. Allows him to get that kind of equality going. Again, he is dual faction, Federation Vulcan. So if you pair him on the Tacumbra, he's going to be discounted. He's going to work well with Mr. Spock and Mr. Spock's free action to do a target lock. So you would do the battle station action with Tuvok. And then, of course, you could do a free action on a Federation crew. So you could do a 7 of 9 action and perform a scan action as a free action. In addition, if equipped to an Intrepid class, place either a scan or an evade token besides the ship. And of course, we'll get more into her later. Yeah, it works well with like Graviton Telescope if you're going to run this kind of Tacumbra here. Works well with photon torpedoes and dorsal phaser arrays for all the quality. So all of these cards right here compared or pulled together to make this kind of Tacumbra build gives you a pretty cool Tacumbra. So the next card in the pack is Maxwell Burke. Cost of 3, a Federation action. Discard this card. Target an opposing ship within range 1. Steal either one Federation tech or one Federation crew upgrade equipped to the target ship, and equip it to this ship, ignoring the ship's restrictions. So definitely emulating him stealing stuff from Voyager, like the Doctor or 7 of 9. So whenever a crew, so Beverly Crusher definitely would help here. Goval would help. Again, Beverly Crusher from the core starter set would help. And David Marcus is an interesting one. And really, it's not that they would help if the thing he's stealing is discarded. They help Maxwell Burke from being discarded. So Beverly Crusher would get discarded instead of Maxwell Burke. David Marcus says if Maxwell Burke gets discarded, you can discard this card instead. Same thing with Goval. So you could steal something twice with Maxwell Burke. So there is a way to recur his action twice. Alright, next crew is Marla Gilmore, who's going to add a tech slot to the ship's upgrade bar. She was the engineer for the Equinox and kept that bucket of bolts running while it was severely damaged. Free action, discard a tech upgrade equipped to the ship. You may perform a green maneuver and then place an evade token beside the ship. So again, we're placing evade tokens, and Tom Paris likes to gobble those evade tokens up to give you some extra maneuver. So Marla Gilmore will allow you to do a green maneuver, and then Tom Paris allows you to do another maneuver. Of course, you can pair her with secondary impulse reactor, where you can do. Why did we pair her with that? I might have put the wrong card in there. I'm not 100% sure why that's there. Maybe there was something I was thinking of, and I don't know. Either way, when defending, so. Oh. Okay. I understand. Had a little bit of some brain fog on this, but okay, I understand what I did here. So all the tech cards here are cheap tech cards that you can airlock. So these are the things that Marla Gilmore will be looking to discard to get those green maneuvers. I understand. I'm on track now. Alright, so next card is Noah Lessing. Planning phase. Spend one of the ship's shields tokens. Choose one of the following. Remove an aux power token from beside the ship. If equipped to a Nova class, also place a scan token beside the ship. Target opposing ship within range. Target opposing ship within range 1 to 2. And it cannot perform the scan action or place scan tokens beside their ship this game round. So Noah Lessing, if you're going to use him in the planning phase, oh, that's smart. So that's smart. If you are within range 1 to 2 and you've got a ship that likes to do a lot of scans in the enemy fleet, you can use no lessing, spend one of your shield tokens, and just say, nope, you're not going to be doing scans this round. So again, he wants to be paired with Nova classes to get that scan token. You can also pair him with Toric, where at the end phase, disable this card, and you get to spend a scan token from inside the ship and repair a shield. So he'll get to repair the shield from that Noah Lessing gives, and then of course, or the shield that Noah Lessing is going to spend. And then of course, if there's any Ox power tokens beside the ship, you may repair one hull in the ship instead. So Toric will give you a little bit of flexibility there. Again, if you have Operations Officer and you have an evade token, you can spend it to repair one shield at the end phase. Reinforced shielding, multi-adaptive shield system upgrades allows you to boost the shields up so that Noah Lessing isn't spending your entire basket of shields. Alright, next crew in this pack is Thompson, the pilot for the Equinox. Whenever a scan token is placed besides the ship, place 2 time tokens on this card and place an evade token besides this ship. So again, Tom Paris really likes this guy, just to give him some extra stuff. Esri Dax will reduce that 2 time tokens down to 1. Julian Bashir, I don't remember why you're here. So Julian Bashir would not work in this case because Thompson at the end phase would lose a time token, so that when Julian Bashir activates, you can't remove 2 time tokens because Thompson will only have 1. But he would like to be on the Takavra as well. Beta Hirogen works with these scan actions. You got Chulak, who's going to be placing scan tokens, and the Science Officer, who also places scan tokens. So the Takavra, Beta Hirogen, Chulak, Science Officer all pair well with Thompson to give you an evade token because you placed a scan token. And notice it's whenever a scan token is placed besides this ship. So if you use Chulak and place 3 scan tokens beside the ship, then you get to put 2 time tokens on Thompson and place 3 evade tokens next to the ship. There's lots of ways to ramp Thompson up. Next crew in the pack is Erin Hansen. Notice that she has a restriction. She can only be equipped to an Aerie class ship. Activation phase. Target an opposing ship within range that has a captain skill of 5 or greater, and that's range 1. If the ship activates after the target ship, you may execute an additional maneuver on this ship's maneuver dial. If the target ship is Borg or has a Borg captain equipped to it, place 1 time token on an upgrade equipped to that ship. So she's going to pair very well with Magnus Hansen, who is going to utilize his planning phase ability to make sure that they have the highest captain skill. And then Erin Hansen's like, all right, we have the highest captain skill. We're going to do an additional maneuver as well. So these 2 cards pair very well with each other, and of course they're all meant to go on to the U.S.S. Raven. So everything very much has a synergy here, pairs very well with each other. So I am enjoying these 2 new versions of the Hansens. All right, so another crew in this pack is Ani Jatal. She's a bit of a deep cut from Voyager, and I had to recently see the episode before I understood where she came from. She is in the episode where the Doctor has a meltdown in his subroutines because he had to make a choice, and he couldn't understand why he made the choice he made. Because Jatal and Harry Kim both came in injured, and the Doctor chose to save Harry Kim instead of Jatal, and Jatal passed away, which left him in his moral bind. But that is kind of the reference episode where she's coming from. So whenever an opposing effect in range would discard or steal any friendly crew upgrades, this card must be targeted instead, range 1 to 3. It's kind of where that thematicism's coming in. Whenever this card would be discarded or stolen by an opposing ship, target that ship. Place 3 time tokens on either a crew or a question mark upgrade equipped to the target ship. The reason why it is a crew or question mark is because when the alien ship boarded the shuttle that they were on, there were 2 crew. So she counts for herself, the other crew, and then the Doctor, who is a question mark upgrade. And that's kind of where that comes from. So again, pairs well with these cards, the top three cards here that kind of save her. Um, Goval would say, nope, discard me instead. And then you get to run Jatal again. And of course, you got Janeway and Picard here who don't like it when their crew is discarded, so they get to do things. And then, of course, this is the first card in this faction pack where we see the lower decks keyword. So just a reminder that the lower decks keyword, and we got the new rules card over here, is up to 2 cards of the lower decks keyword may fill a single upgrade slot while equipped to a ship they share a faction with. So in this case, Jatal can share a crew slot with another lower decker as long as both lower deckers are have the Federation faction icon in common with the ship that they are on. All right, so continuing with other upgrades here, we've got Tal Celis, who is from the Good Shepherd episode. This is one of the crew that Janeway took on an away mission. Free action, place 3 time tokens on this card and perform the scan action as a free action. Lower decks keyword, so she can be paired with other lower deckers, such as the previous card we just talked about. Esri Dex can come in here to help save her, place 1 fewer time token on there. If you have Esri Dex somewhere else in your fleet, Julian Bashir would come in to help. So the way that would work is you would take the action with Tal Celis, places 3 time tokens on her. At the end phase, you would remove a time token, leaving only 2 time tokens, so that when you come into the next action phase, there are 2 time tokens here that Julian Bashir can remove. So that's kind of how that interaction works. And then you got Dimitri Valtain, who likes scan tokens. He's also a lower decker, so you can get this little nice combo going for 4 points in the 1 crew slot. Mr. Spock obviously likes scans. He likes to change battle stations into hits. Beta Hirogen is another one that if you do the scan action, you get to place an additional scan action. The Tacumbra is another ship here. I used him a lot, or used that ship a lot already, so I replaced it with the Enterprise A here because that ship also likes scans. Lots of scan shenanigans happening in the game today. So the next crew that comes out is another lower decker. It is William Telfer. Whenever you would place 3 or more time tokens on a Federation crew upgrade, you may place those time tokens on this card instead. Pairs well with his episode compatriot Tal Celis. They both are in the Good Shepherd episode, so you're able to place those time tokens on Telfer instead of Celis. Again, Esri Dax, Julian Bashir can come in and help Telfer. You've got Vorik, who is a crew that places those 3 time tokens. So Vorik, Chakotay, and Kira Nerys, all these 3 crew that place 3 time tokens, you can put those time tokens on Telfer instead and be able to recur these abilities more than once. Okay, and then we've got Mortimer Heron, who is the other crew from the Good Shepherd episode. Again, got a lower decks keyword here. Cost of 1. Combat phase. Spend a scan token from beside the ship and target another ship within range. Remove a battle station, scan, evade, or an Ox power token from beside the target ship. Notice it does not say target an opposing ship. It just says target a ship. So that could be an opposing ship, it could be a friendly ship. So he's another way to get rid of Ox power tokens, but he's also another card that does a lot of token denial, which is what I've used him effectively for in the Delta Quadrant campaign. Definitely pairs well with Tal Celis and Telfer. So you use Tal Celis to place the free scan. You use Telfer to take Tal Celis' 3 time tokens, and then you take that scan and spend it in the combat phase with Mortimer Heron and get rid of a quality token next to an enemy ship. Pairs well with things like James T. Kirk, where you're going to be placing a scan, Mr. Spock, Donald Varley, all those 3 cards place a scan. Pairs well with Vorik because they're both, and Tau really, because they're both token denial cards. Even the Koskari, where you're going to steal a token. So it's possible for you to steal a token and then use Mortimer Heron to activate and to get rid of another token from the same ship. We've got Timothy Lang, who is another lower decker here, cost of 1. Increase the captain skill of the captain equipped with the ship by 1. Night Shift. Action. Target an opposing ship within range and disable 1 crew upgrade equipped to that target ship. So again, remember that Night Shift is when you do not have the initiative token. So he's going to pair well with things like James T. Kirk, where it's going to do a free crew action. Captain's Discretion, again, you can discard it and do a free crew action, or Tuvok even will give you a free action from a crew upgrade. T'Pol, Jonathan Archer, those are all cards that are going to give you a free action to do something. As long as you're on Night Shift, you can do Timothy Lang's action. Same thing with these are the Voyages, which we'll talk about when we get to that pack. Again, spending a mission token to activate a crew action. Then we've got Jenkins, who is another lower decker, cost of 2. Reveal dial step, place 2 time tokens on this card. This ship may increase the speed of the revealed maneuver by 1. The color of that maneuver is the same as the revealed maneuver. Night Shift, check for power strain step. If the ship executed a non-red maneuver, remove an aux power token from beside your ship. So again, she is going to remove auxes if you're on Night Shift. But she's also one of those cards that affects movement and how far you can go. Keep in mind that the movement has to have a template that exists in the game. For example, if you have a forward 6 selected, you cannot place 2 time tokens on Jenkins to make that a forward 7, because a 7 movement template does not exist in the game. So she pairs well with Ezri Dax because you would be able to remove a time token and be able to use her for every single round. And then Coffee Black also pairs well with her. Alright. So the next crew that we're going to be looking at is B'Elanna Torres. In phase, disable this card. Remove 1 time token from each tech upgrade equipped to this ship. At any time, once per game, discard a tech upgrade equipped to the ship. Repair a number of hull or shields on the ship equal to half of the printed SP of the discarded tech upgrade rounded up. She is Federation Klingon dual factioned, which is very thematic. Again, she's going to pair well with that Year of Hell Voyager, where she's going to do some quick repair work. You got Beverly Crusher here, who will help you save Torres from disabling herself by disabling Crusher. Bashir could target her and remove that disable token. But you could also have variable geometry pylons equipped to the Voyager for free as a tech, and then you discard it, and then you get to repair a hull. So the bigger the tech, the more hull or shields you get to replace, or repair, excuse me. So there's that, and then of course, in phase you get to disable her card and remove a time token. So variable geometry pylons, you place 2 time tokens on the card, you remove 1 at the end phase, then you can also disable Torres at the end phase to remove another one. So you could use variable geometry pylons pretty much every round, especially if you've got a B'Elanna Torres, Beverly Crusher, Julian Bashir kind of conveyor belt going. So you would disable B'Elanna to clear variable geometry pylons, but you wouldn't disable B'Elanna, you would disable Beverly Crusher instead. You would disable the Beverly Crusher from the Enterprise E pack instead, and then Julian Bashir, the next activation phase, can target B'Elanna Torres' ship and remove that disable token from Beverly Crusher. So it's kind of a way to clear it out. So we've got our first appearance of Kess in the game, coming as a crew, Federation Independent, which is on character for her. Activation, place 3 time tokens on this card and target any ship in play. Look at the target ship's maneuver dial and trigger the following ability based on the faction of the target ship. Kazon, place a battle station token beside the ship. Species A472, you may execute a 1 bank, left or right or forward maneuver. Mirror Universe, which is really meant to represent the Krenim, place an evade token beside this ship. So she's going to pair well with Telfer, Ezri Dax, Julian Bashir, as we talked about before. But again, she definitely defends against the Predator classes, the Species 8472 bioships, and then particularly the Krenim weapon ship. So welcome to the crew, Kess. And then we've got 7 of 9. Federation Borg dual faction, again, thematic sense. Add either one tech or one Borg upgrade to the ship's upgrade bar. Action: perform the sensor echo. Perform the scan action as a free action. In addition, if equipped to an Intrepid class, place either a scan or a battle or an evade token besides the ship. In addition, if equipped to a Borg ship, place a battle station token besides this ship. So definitely Borg Voyager will satisfy more than one of those conditions. So she definitely likes to be on Borg Voyager. Tuvok is a card that pairs well with her because you can do multiple actions. Tuvok allows you to do target lock or battle station as a free action, and then allows you to activate 7 and 9 as that crew action, so you can get a scan action, and then of course an evade token if you're on an Intrepid class. You got the Astrometrics Lab, which she pairs well with because that is the area that she was in. When you perform a scan action, place 3 time tokens on this card, and you may perform a sensor echo action. So definitely something the 7 and 9 is going to pair well with. Of course, Beta Hirogen and Tacumbra to get you multiple scan actions, or scan tokens from that scan action. And then you got Chakotay and Theoderic Patterson who want scan tokens next to their ships. So she pairs well with a lot of cards. Those are just kind of the ones that come to mind. Next crew is Aaron Cavett, the first officer of the U.S.S. Voyager. Passed away in the episode Caretaker. So you add one crew slot to the ship's upgrade bar. After executing a maneuver with a speed of 5 or greater, discard this card and place an Aux Tower token beside your ship. Place one of each battle station, evade, and scan tokens besides this ship. So he sacrifices himself to place 3 tokens next to your ship. Kind of thematic for him. And of course, you can always save him using Beverly Crusher, Goval. But an interesting card that I found that he really works well with because Gul Dukat wants an evade and a scan token. So you could pair him on and put him on a Dominion ship, pair him with Gul Dukat, do a speed of 5 or greater with probably some shenanigans or on a battle cruiser. Either way, you can get it done, and then you can use Cavett to get the tokens that Dukat's looking for. You got Veronica Stati is the next crew. Action: discard this card and place an Aux Power token besides the ship. Perform a maneuver with a speed of 5 or greater on your maneuver dial. If this ship has a Federation prototype construction card equipped, you may choose any maneuver on this ship's maneuver dial instead. Again, she's the first pilot of the Voyager that passed away in the Caretaker episode. And she's an interesting one too, so she's definitely going to pair well with Cavett, and then of course Crusher and Goval to save her from being discarded. So that is the last of that set of 10. So next we've got the U.S.S. Voyager CMO. Free action: discard this card and the ship suffers 1 damage. You may perform any available action as a free action. Again, this is a character that passed away in the episode Caretaker. He was unnamed in the episode, interestingly enough. He was named in beta canon sources. However, because of the way these cards have to be credited to the actors that appear in them, they are unable to use a beta canon name, so they had to use the name that he was credited for, which is the U.S.S. Voyager CMO. Of course, Beverly Crusher, the Enterprise CMO, can save him, and Goval can save him from being discarded. So he was the last crew. We can go ahead and move into other upgrades. So we're going to be talking about an elite talent here. This is Tactical Superiority Commander. Can only be equipped to a captain with a skill of 8 or greater, and that's printed skill. When attacking, if there are no friendly ships within range that have an equal or higher primary weapon value, roll +1 attack dice. So that's range 1 to 2. So she does a lot of good work that way. Definitely been using this card a lot in my Delta Quadrant campaign, and it's worked out a ton. Of course, you can pair it with the Lone Hunt if you have a captain who has a double elite talent slot. When attacking, if there are no friendly ships within range of this ship, range 1 to 2, so the same range as Tactical Superiority Commander, this ship rolls +1 attack die this game round. So it's possible to boost your attack by +2. And then you've got James T. Kirk, who is skill 8, of course. I think I just placed these captains here because they are skill 8, skill 9s. So these are the captains that that can use Tactical Superiority Commander. Even Shenzan or Martok, even though it would in fact incur a faction penalty, that penalty is only +1. So a 3-point card to give you a +1 attack die, especially if you are running a fleet where you're planning on your ships not being together. All right, and then we got transphasic torpedoes. So brand new copy, 1 per ship. Forward or rear firing arc. They are Federation Mirror Universe dual faction, cost of 5. The attack value of this weapon is equal to the defending ship's printed hull value +1. So that is a different type of way to calculate the attack, right? Because that's not something we've seen in the game before, where it's looking at the defending ship's hull for the attack value. But it's very on the nose and very thematic for transphasic torpedoes. So, attack. Discard this card and target an opposing ship at range 2 to 3. Modify attack die step. Reroll up to the number of blanks equal to this ship's primary weapon value. So again, we're looking at another value for rerolls. Deal damage step. Uncancelled crits from this attack ignore the defending ship's shields. That is very interesting. Now, I am going to what I put out here on the slide is the ships that should be afraid of this weapon. So you've got the Borg cube, where it's got a hull value of 10. This is the big Borg cube. Transphasics would be firing 11 dice at you, and you could get conversion and quality. Same with the tactical cube, that's going to be 10. Borg octahedron is going to be 9. Spheres are 8. Even the abandoned space stations, the Nor-class orbital space stations, Deep Space Nine, Terok Nor, the abandoned space station card here, that's going to be 9 dice thrown at them. Xindi weapons, that's 9 dice thrown at them. Now, there is an interesting combo that popped up that I did not spot originally. And I didn't spot it quick enough. But let me see if I can get it in here real quick. So we were going through the fleets that were created for the event over at Fremont called Anything Goes. And that event, we are talking, we asked players to make some of these combos and crazy things to kind of highlight these new cards or older cards to kind of show off how high powered they are. Now, this is a combo that I did not originally intend, or I didn't originally see, but somebody else did, and it's ingenious. It is ingenious. Trying to get it up on the screen here for you, so I'm going to have to delay for a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the Borg cube itself with a copy of this card. If it'll work with me. There we go. And it is. Today is a good day to die. So you're going to discard this card. All ships may convert hits into crits this game round. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So you pair this with a cloaked ship. You get Cloaked Dwarf on there, where he's going to turn all blanks into hits. You get a battle station conversion to turn all your battle stations to hits. And you play Today is a Good Day to Die in the activation phase. All of your hits turn to crits, and then any uncancelled crits are going to ignore the defending ship's shields. So there's a possibility that you could just one-shot somebody with transphasic torpedoes. And that, again, is very, very on point and on the nose, very thematic. Now, there is one other captain that I want to highlight that I just thought of as well, and that would be Mr. Khan Singh. You may use upgrades without paying a faction penalty. During an attack, if you spend a battle station token, each of your battle station results becomes a crit instead of a hit. So again, getting those crit conversions, allowing it to go through the shields, makes transphasics very, very deadly. So the next weapon in this pack is gravimetric torpedoes. Again, one per ship, is a 6 dice attack. Forward and rear firing arcs can only be equipped to a ship with a hull value of 4 or greater. Spend the ship's target lock token and discard this card and target an opposing ship at range 2 to 3. Place an aux power token beside the target ship and each ship within range 1 of the target. So if you've got a swarm that's flying very, very close formation, Jemadar ships definitely want to be within range 1 of each other. Some Burrell swarms will fly very close to each other. Gravimetric torpedoes is a way to kind of disrupt that and give them aux powers so they have to deal with it the next round. Second half of the ability is action. So we have an attack ability and then we have an action ability for the activation phase. Not something you typically see on weapons, but this is a nice change. Target a non-planet obstacle or a minefield obstacle within range and remove this card from the game. Or remove this card from the game. Deal 1 damage to each ship within range 1 of that obstacle, and then remove that obstacle from play. So gravimetric torpedoes is a way to get rid of minefields. So a lot of people like to set minefields, and then they will set a minefield around them, and then they'll kind of fly inside of that minefield, begging for the opponents to come into the minefield to set them off. So gravimetric torpedoes is a way to kind of target a minefield and then get rid of it, but also deal out some damage to those ships that are hanging out around it. So definitely likes getting rid of cloaked mines, antimatter mines. But interestingly enough, it can also target the minefield obstacle token that the Verteron pull strap places down. So we have essentially a counter for all 4 of those cards that use minefield tokens. So next weapon, we got photonic missiles. This is a redo of the original. Forward, rear firing arcs, Delta Flyer class only. It is an attack of 4. Attack, place 2 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Destroy 1 active shield on the defending ship. Deal damage step. If the defending ship has no active shields, place an aux power token beside it. So it's kind of like the Spectre where it reaches out and destroys shields. No matter whether you hit or not, you declare the target step, you're using photonic missiles, you're going to destroy an active shield, and then you roll your dice. Very nice ability there. Very, very nice for the Delta Flyer class. And of course you got Kalana, who can reduce that down to 1 time token. Next weapon, the tech we have is temporal shielding. So this is the shielding that they developed in the Year of Hell episodes to kind of counteract the Kratom torpedoes. Increase the ship's shield value by 1. This ship's shields cannot be ignored by attacks made with weapon upgrades. So transphasic torpedoes again. If those crits wouldn't be able to bypass the shields if you had this card on there. If the ship has any active shields, remove an additional time token from any 1 card equipped to the ship, including the ship card. So very nice to be able to remove an additional time token in the end phase. Again, this is a defense against your Chronoton torpedoes that want to skip the shields. It's not going to happen. Very, very thematic there. This is also a defense against the new Hirogen Admiral Carr, who wants to target an opposing ship within range and then place a time token on the ship card. So you can remove that in the end phase here instead. Of course, you can pair this with reinforced shields. That's an 8 cost combo though, but it would increase your shield value by 3. And of course, you got your 3 cards that are all defensible cards. Alright, next card is Multi-Adaptive Shields. Can only be equipped to Federation ships. Increase the shield value by 1. When defending, if the ship has any active shields, roll +1 defense die. And this ship rolls its full defense dice against minefield obstacles and opposing ships with scan tokens beside them. So again, it runs the gamut of the 3 cloaked mines that we have in the game, or the 2 cloaked mines and antimatter mines. So you get to roll your entire defense roll +1 when defending against minefields. And then, of course, you want to pair it with reinforced shielding. Again, that's a combo of 8 points there for 3 shields. But you can pair it with Hikaru Sulu, who will give you 2 and max you out on the defense dice that you can roll. You can also pair it with the William T. Riker from the U.S.S. Hood to increase your defense roll by 2. Alright, looking at Bioneural Circuitry. Again, this is another card that is an errata of an older one. Again, can only be placed on Federation ships, 1 per ship. After the ship executes a maneuver, disable this card. You may perform an action on the ship's action bar or ship card as a free action. Perform action step. Place 3 time tokens on this card. This ship may perform actions on its action bar or ship card even if there is an aux power token besides the ship. This upgrade costs +3 if not equipped to either an Intrepid, Sovereign, or Luna class ship. So we don't have a Luna class ship in the game yet, but the symbol keeps appearing with hashtag future proofing. So hopefully in the future, the near future, we will be getting a Luna class. So a couple of interesting cards that pair well with it. Of course, you want it on the Intrepid or the Sovereign to get the full discounts. If not, it's going to cost 5 points on any other ship. But Idrin, as the captain, can remove can remove a disable token or 2 time tokens for the cost of 2 time tokens onto him. Of course, you pair him with Ezri Dax, and that would be 1 time token instead of 2. Harry Kim is another one where you may remove a disable token from a Federation tech upgrade if you do a scan action. Miles O'Brien is another one that can remove a disable token from a Federation tech. And then you've got Bolano Torres, where you can disable this card and remove 1 time token from each tech equipped to the ship. So you got a lot of options here to get rid of those time tokens and disable token. So the next card in the pack is the Variable Geometry Pylons. Can only be equipped to an Intrepid class, 1 per ship. Cost of 2. Reveal dial step. Place 2 time tokens on this card. You may increase or decrease the speed of the revealed maneuver by 1. Treat this maneuver as the same color as the revealed maneuver. Okay, so again, this only wants to be on the Intrepid class, which is fine. That's perfect for this place, actually. But then you got Bolana Torres, who can remove time tokens for being disabled herself, so you can run variable geometry pylons pretty much every round as long as you have a way to reactivate Bolana Torres. Idrin is the other option. So you make Idrin the captain of the Intrepid class. If you're going to use this specific card with a combo, you have Idrin, you have Ezri Dax, and then Idrin can remove up to 2. And notice it says up to 2, not just 2. So he can work by removing just 1 time token. And of course, I got the Intrepid class move maneuver card here because variable geometry of pylons allows you to do a 1 forward with the Intrepid when it doesn't have a 1 forward. So what you do is you select the 2 green forward, you decrease the maneuver by 1, now you do a 1 green forward. You also can do 4 banks now with this card. 3 bank can be transformed to a 4 bank. So those are kind of the impressive moves that it can make now. It makes the Intrepid class pretty much do the entire gambit. The only thing it cannot do is the come about maneuvers or the reverse maneuvers. The next tech we got is the Atramestrix Lab. Again, Federation ship only. Can only be equipped to a ship with a hull value of 4 or higher. Whenever you perform a scan action, place 3 time tokens on this card. You may perform a sensor echo action using the 1 template as a free action, even if the ship is not cloaked. This upgrade costs +2 if not equipped to an Intrepid, a Sovereign, or a Luna class ship. So this Astrometrics Lab costs 3 if it's equipped to anything else. So I've got the Intrepid, the Sovereign, and the Prometheus here just because I wanted to show that it could be equipped to the Prometheus, but it'll cost you 3 points to be equipped there. 7 of 9 naturally pairs well with this just because she performs a scan action. Balana Taurus, again, pairs well with this because of her ability to get rid of time tokens off of tech. Same thing with Idrin, kind of the same theme that we used with variable geometry pylons. This is another one that you can remove up to 2 time tokens from the tech upgrade and kind of keep going with it. Alright, next tech is rechargeable shield emitters. 1 per ship, can only be equipped to a Nova class. So increase the ship's shield value by 1. Action, place an Aux power token beside the ship and repair up to 2 shields on this ship. So again, I think Maxwell Burke, maybe it's not Maxwell Burke. I thought there was a card that was associated with the Equinox where you can spend a shield to do something. So this would be kind of a fix for that. You got reinforced shielding that you can pair it with. Systems upgrade as well. You got Worf, Chekhov, and Kim all here to remove that Aux power token if and when needed. So moving over, we've got Coffee Black here. This upgrade may be equipped to a ship without requiring an upgrade slot. Can only be equipped to a Federation captain. Night Shift, planning phase. Place 2 time tokens on this card. Either place a scan token beside the ship or remove an Aux power token. And then at any time, if you have the initiative token, you can discard this card to pass the initiative token to your opponent on your left to put you back into Night Shift. So if you've got things that you want to keep recurring with Night Shift, you can discard Coffee Black to recur Night Shift at least for another turn. So we've got the Doctor, who's a question mark. This card counts as either a crew or tech upgrade. When a Federation crew upgrade equipped to the ship is discarded by an opposing effect, place that upgrade beneath this card. Action. Disable this card and equip 1 crew upgrade beneath this card to this ship, ignoring the ship's restrictions. Then place 2 time tokens on that upgrade. So, pretty much, if you've got a card that targets a crew to be discarded, like 2nd of 5, Kira Nerys, Natrium, Mutura, targeted phaser strike, the Doctor says, hold on, the card isn't discarded, he's going into my sick bay, and then the Doctor will work on him and disable himself to bring that crew back to life, pretty much. Then you place 2 time tokens on that upgrade, which, again, if you got Ezri Dax on your ship, she's going to reduce that to 1, so you'll get the crew back the next round. So he's a good defense against all these cards that discard things. Of course, you can pair him with Janeway and Picard that want you to discard things and they want to do other things. Janeway in particular, because when you discard a crew, Janeway gives you that free attack. Alright, and then we have Transwarp Coil. Action. If this card is not equipped to a Borg ship, discard this card. So, I want to state first that the wording on this card could have been written better, but that is a check. That is not a requirement. So if this card is not equipped to a Borg ship, discard this card. That just means that if it's on anything other than a Borg ship, discard it. It doesn't mean that this card can only be equipped to a Borg ship. Perform an additional maneuver on this ship's dial of the same speed as the revealed maneuver. Treat this maneuver as a red maneuver. So this is a fun way to get a Borg ship across the board quickly. You could do it with the Voyager. You can do it with an Intrepid, going forward 6 and doing it again to go forward 6. There's a lot of uses for the Transwarp Coil. You can recruit the ability if it's equipped to a Borg ship, though. So that's kind of why I got Borg movement cards up here. Alright, we got the Ablative Generator. So it is 1 per ship, can only be equipped to a ship with a hull value of 4 or higher, and a ship with a starting shield value of 3 or higher. First time we've seen kind of that restriction before. This card can only be equipped to a unique, mirror unique ship, and the ship SP cost of this card is equal to the ship's printed hull value plus 2. Disable your remaining shield and remove any cloak token from beside your ship. This ship cannot attack with its primary weapon and may reduce the damage dealt to it by up to 5 this game round. For each point of damage reduced this way, you must place a crit token on this card, max 5. This card has 5 crit tokens on it. Okay, I know I didn't put unique ships up here, but what I'm trying to show are the ships that can take this naturally, kind of those class lines. Keep in mind that if a ship that's got a hull value of 4 and a shield value of 2, the named version of that ship will be hull value 4, ship value of 3, could take the ablative generator because it just barely meets those metrics. So any named galaxy class along this line of galaxy classes can take this card. Same with the Intrepid, Sovereign, Constitution class, Excelsior class, Prometheus class. But notice it's not restricted to Federation ships only. So other people can have this. So pretty much it's exactly what it says. It defends you for 5 hits pretty much. It's a Starship Construction card. So it replaces the original ablative generator with a Starship Construction version. And then we've got our first appearance of Neelix in the game. Ambassador Neelix, very thematic for him. You got Federation Independent, again, thematic. Negotiations accepted. For the rest of the game, if the ship moves within range 1 of the target ship, or the target ship moves within range 1 of this ship, place either a battle station or an evade token besides that ship that moved. So if you are staring at an enemy ship and you guys are at range 2, and you move first, and you move within range 1, you get to put the token on. If the enemy ship moves first and moves within range 1, they get to put the token on. If you move within range 1 of the enemy ship, you put the token on. If the enemy ship moves and it's still within range 1 of you, it gets to put a token on. A lot of flexibility into the way Neelix works. Negotiations denied. This ship gains the following ability. End phase. Select either a battle station, evade, or scan token besides this ship. That token does not get removed this end phase. So here's a very interesting concept that I was introduced to by watching Da Vinci's Steven Van Deventer's video about this pack in particular. Well, not about this pack, about adversaries of the Delta Quadrant. And he was talking about Dala. So Dala, she puts a reputation permanent effect token next to a ship, and that ship is treated as a enemy ship, and that happens at the setup. That happens at the setup phase. So if she targets a ship that was friendly to Neelix, Neelix is all of a sudden able to do negotiations with that ship. Effectively, you can have 2 ships sitting next to each other. One of them is now considered an enemy ship because of Dala, and Neelix is on the other ship. Neelix can target that newly enemy ship, and you get to negotiate with yourself. So you can accept or deny your own negotiation. If you accept, anytime those ships move within range 1 of each other, they're going to get tokens. It's a very interesting idea going on there. You got T'Pau, who is also does this kind of same thing as Neelix's negotiations denied step there. You've got the Enterprise A that wants scans and does a lot of things. Another interesting card that interacts with Neelix is Mr. Spock. So once per game, you may cancel any active negotiations in play. The controlling players may activate their negotiation effect targeting a different ship. So we really break down that wording on Mr. Spock. You may cancel any active negotiations in play. So if you are targeting a ship that's about to get destroyed and it's got Neelix's negotiations on it, if you destroy that ship, it's no longer in play. So that negotiation is no longer active, so you can't do that. So you would activate Mr. Spock in the planning phase and switch that ship out before you destroy it. So I believe that brings us to the end of the video. That was Lost in the Delta Quadrant. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you get some ideas of combos to run. Let me know down in the comment section below what combos you're seeing, what cards you liked out of this pack. Um, I know there seems to be a power creep with these faction packs that are coming, but you have to consider that this faction pack wasn't really designed for competitive play itself. It was designed to really work with adversaries of the Delta Quadrant, and then those two packs were designed to work with each other. So I think it's very important to mention that because they both come with the Delta Quadrant campaign. The two booklets you can combine into one big campaign. Uh, so there's a lot of synergy between the two packs going on. So I definitely want to hear what you guys think. Uh, Also, give the video a thumbs up if you like this content. I'm planning on doing this more and getting through the last couple of faction packs that have come out as well via this style, as I previously hadn't, like I thought I did. So I'll be getting those out in the near future. And of course, also subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the content that's coming out. I'm hoping to get some more content out here shortly, starting with live streams as well for games with the Fremont Reformation crew, so you can catch out some live gameplay on the channel. There's no set schedule for that, so you just have to check every once in a while, or activate the bell to know when I go live. Um, Other than that, you can join us over at the Fremont Reformation Discord. I'll put a link to the server in the description box below. We talk a lot about Attack Wing. We actually just ran through a bunch of these cards and kind of put out some rule clarifications, as you will, as to how the cards work and how we expect them to work. Um, but also we do events over there. So if you're clamoring for some Attack Wing play and your scene has recently died around you, or there's nobody around you that really plays Attack Wing, consider getting Tabletop Simulator on Steam. It goes on sale quite frequently, but there is a mod that allows you to play the full Attack Wing game in entirety. Every expansion, every card ever created for the game is in there. It allows you to. It meshes well with Utopia, so you can build a fleet, bring to the table, and we've got players in the server that play all the time. You can either join an event or you can ask and find someone who wants to play a game. We even have the mod designer in the server who likes to play the game and teach people how to use the mod. So if you're uncomfortable, you're not feeling easy enough with the mod, you can learn that way too. But we enjoy having new people come in and being actively engaged in our server. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will catch you around the shipyard.